And we're live. I'm here with Ken Hagerstrom of Ram Rugby USA. And he just so happens to be a chess mogul.
I'm not sure a chess mogul, but...
Well, you sell giant chess sets.
We sell giant chess sets. Yep. Our old business has been, we started by making outdoor games. And giant chess sets came in and all kinds of other fun outdoor games. And then we actually expanded in the United States into soccer before we get into rugby. Ram Rugby in the UK had been producing rugby equipment for about 20 years, and we convinced them to brand it as soccer equipment, much more durable. And we've had a soccer business going in the United States for a couple of years now. And with Major League Rugby getting started here in 2018, we thought it would be a great chance to bring Ram Rugby's products over to the US.
That's outstanding. So, going back to chess, though, any chance you guys supplied the set that's at Baylor?
Most likely, yeah. We do.
There's from the center. I think it's at one of the dorms. There's a giant chess set at Baylor University, and my partner, she's an alum, so we go by.
The interesting thing about the giant chess business is there's not a lot of competition. So we have chess sets all over the world. We have all kinds of movies and things like that. So it's a fun business.
So when it comes to chess, do you know who Bobby Fischer is? Do you know Bobby Fischer?
I know who he is. I don't know him.
So if you don't, and then the other two I was going to ask you about are Wesley So and Fabiano Caruana.
You got me stumped on both of those.
I didn't know who they were. I play chess sometimes, and they're the last two United States chess champions.
Well, the one thing is I am a terrible chess player, so.
So here's a good one. What about rugby themed chess sets for your company?
And that may be the future. We may be able to pull something off there.
Nice. All in on that one.
Yeah. We can at least have them wear jerseys.
Perfect. So, you talked about doing business with Ram Rugby and branding them as soccer equipment. So you got involved in Ram Rugby. How long with Ram Rugby? I guess
decided to bring the products in about a year ago and started building up inventory. And then we were actually approached by one of the teams to submit a proposal to Major League Rugby for equipment and for balls. And we talked on and off for probably 6 months. At times I thought it was almost a done deal, and then there were other times I didn't think that we were going to be able to come to an agreement. But in the end, I think we're both interested in the same thing. I think rugby in the United States is an interesting business. It's really, I think, at the infancy of the business, maybe where soccer was 20 years ago. And I think that just like soccer did, it got out into the communities. It really did a great job on the grassroots efforts and building local teams. And much later, Major League Rugby came into existence. But I think that's probably going to be the same approach that needs to be taken in the rugby world here. So we are committed to helping local grassroots rugby programs grow. And we thought that a great opportunity to do that would be to partner with Major League Rugby. They have, in many cases, have pretty deep roots within the communities, know all the rugby players or the folks in the rugby community in their cities, and really work with them to help develop rugby within the communities. And that's been our approach with them. When we partnered with with Major League Rugby, we agreed to supply a number of equipment to the clubs so that they could distribute it within the communities. So I think that probably was one of the reasons we did as well as we did with the proposal, and why we ultimately became the partner in Major League Rugby.
Yeah, that the Utah black and red ball. If I could get one,
it's a nice looking ball.
If I could get one of those for the set, be appreciative.
We may be able to help you with that.
So this specific deal, I know overall that I'm not asking for financial terms, but do we got the league release said multi-year. So do we have a finite block that we can talk about?
Yeah, the program will run for at least a couple of years. It depends on how you look at these contracts, Aaron. You can look at them as the base contract, or you can look at them as the base contract plus the options that each of us have. So what I would say is we're going to be a partner of Major League Rugby for a number of years.
Okay. Got it. Going into our next question. So Ram wants to move pretty hardcore into the US, because I've seen the stuff more so on, I would say, on social media. Like I'd seen a lot of stuff in the UK. Yeah. So I sort of knew what Ram Rugby was, but I hadn't seen much out here. Like, I think most of the blocking pads my club has are like either football branded blocking pads.
Sure.
Maybe a few Rhinos, but Rhino probably being the biggest equipment manufacturer in this country, there's still it's not really out there, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. We actually make the pads and tackle bags in the UK, and we bring them over to the United States from the UK. We've found that the quality is really much higher when we've made them in the UK than either making them in India or even making them here in the United States. We're real happy with the quality of the product. It's been out there with a number of the major league teams, and we've got great feedback on it as well. So goal is to, Ram historically has been a company that makes really high quality equipment and prices it very, very competitively. This is the first time that Ram has ever been involved in a sponsorship arrangement. So traditionally, Ram doesn't have to absorb the cost of those sponsorships and pass that along as part of their price. But we decided that with MLR coming to the States simultaneously with us, that this was just too good an opportunity to pass up to partner with them and get some of the equipment out there in the marketplace. So
I read earlier that this deal only encompasses 6 of the teams, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Part of the deal encompasses 6 teams. The ball sponsorship does not include Austin. Austin was, and I give them credit. They were very aggressive out of the gate and found a sponsorship before MLR put together the agreement with us. And as a result, Austin is keeping their sponsorship with American Rucker. It's a great company, and we're going to take the other 6 teams and the expansion teams should the league expand next year.
And then I also read that because you just talked about pads. Mm-hmm. Does this specific deal, or is there you have another deal as part? Like, I guess it's under an umbrella that to supply pads and sleds to specific teams, or is it to all teams?
It's to all teams. So as a matter of fact, Austin has some of our equipment already and is utilizing it. So all teams are we expect will ultimately use the equipment. That is up to them as to who they buy from, but we have an agreement with them that will help them bring equipment into their teams and into the teams that they work with in the community at a really incredibly low price. Again, the goal is to get the equipment out into the marketplace so people can use it.
Because I mean, I noticed you guys have a pretty wide offering.
We do. And again, it's all originally designed for rugby. It ranges from the typical hit shields and tackle bags that you'd see that many other companies offer. But in addition to that, we do a lot of the field equipment and we do a lot of the training equipment. There's actually, we probably have only about half the line in the United States right now, and we'll be bringing the rest of the line in. There are containers of it coming in every day. So we have lots of equipment coming, and we'll continue to expand the product line.
So what is your current lag time for equipment and balls for new accounts going forward? Just, I guess, brainstorming, because with, this, I would say, major deal with MLR, you're expecting to scale up pretty rapidly.
We are. Right now, we are shipping some product out of the UK, but the majority of it we're actually bringing into the United States. We have a warehouse just outside of Dallas, and we're shipping out of that warehouse. We have websites that we're selling it on, but we also sell a lot of our products on Amazon, and all of that will be shipped out of the US. As the team balls become available and the team branded equipment, that will be coming in kind of in a staggered basis between now and the beginning of the year. So
okay,
we have a lot of equipment coming in here. The turnaround time for the standard equipment is very quick. For custom equipment, it can be anywhere between 6 and probably 12 weeks. Really depends on whether I can get it on a container that come over here quickly. But we're bringing enough of them over that we're turning things around pretty quickly right now.
Gotcha. So, was it? I think Ram UK has over 300 school accounts.
3,000.
3,000. Wow. That's actually a lot.
Ram is, well, I think number one is the UK and Europe. Rugby is a kind of a core sport to them over there.
Yeah.
And as a result, many of the kids are involved in rugby. Ram has supplied equipment for 20 years to schools. Ram does a lot more in the UK in terms of kits, and that's actually a business that we'll probably get into next year. We certainly are working with teams this year, but it's not something we're focused on. This year in the US, we're focused on equipment, and we're focused on rugby balls, and we have a pretty wide variety of rugby balls that we're bringing in. So,
gotcha. Yeah, I looked on your Ram Rugby USA. You guys have, I mean, what was it? 12 balls and the ball bag for $179. That's a very for a match for. I mean, it's not obviously not the most amazing match ball, but a match ball you get 12 match balls for that price. That's a great price. And then you scale up to I think it was $350 for your high end match balls and the bag. That's a very, even then, that's a really good price. Yeah,
Aaron, I think it just goes back to the fact that rugby equipment is traditionally has been a pretty expensive investment for clubs. Clubs don't have a lot of cash. Most clubs don't have a lot of cash, and we can make some really good equipment and get it out to folks at a pretty affordable price. We just did a program with coaches up in Wisconsin, and we brought some of the equipment up there, and by the time that session was over, all of that equipment had been purchased by the clubs in Wisconsin, and we've had a number of additional orders just from that little event. So I think once people actually get it in their hands and they use it, they find that it is a very affordable, high quality product.
Yeah, I think, and although you're already in Texas, I think being headquartered in Texas will definitely help your business, because rugby is really starting to, I mean, Texas rugby is already big, but it's getting even bigger.
Yeah.
I think, just looking at women's rugby last year, I think Texas, for senior women, added 6 clubs or something. It was the number I was told. I have in my notes somewhere. It's pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah. There are certainly some areas in the United States that there are really strong rugby communities, and our goal is to work with those communities and help outfit them with equipment and balls that they need. Before we actually came in and took over RAM in the U.S., we'd been working with a couple of programs like the Memphis, the rugby program in Memphis.
Myself, yeah.
Yeah, they've done a great job there, and Tristan has been working with them from the UK for a number of years. So again, it's the goal here is to get rugby equipment into people's hands affordably, and right now it is pretty expensive. So we hope to be able to change some of that.
Awesome, that's really cool. So first ball sponsor for Major League Rugby, and the I wouldn't say shtick, or I wouldn't say motto, but the priority for Ram Rugby is to provide high quality products at an affordable price. So
I think you got it, Aaron.
Over deliver every time.
And that's I think you probably summed it up perfectly. It's an exciting business for us to grow into here, and we've met some absolutely terrific people. One of the other things that we've done on the soccer side of our business that we hope to bring onto the rugby side of our business is we actually spend a fair amount of time working with coaches, helping them learn to use equipment properly to help improve their players' skills. A lot of times it's coaches will purchase equipment and they'll use it to the best of their knowledge. But one of the things that we've done is we've gone out and invested in a video series where coaches use the equipment, and they actually coach coaches in these videos where they can help them learn proper technique and how to spot dangerous technique and help keep their players safe while they're working with the equipment, but also really focus on the things that improve their skills rather than just using the equipment. So
that's really awesome, to be honest, because I've done a coaching series as part of where we're trying to go with MLR. And one of the techniques when it comes to practice that the coach we're working with, Gordon Hanlon, he's a director of rugby in Germany, one of the few professional directors of rugby in Germany, knock on wood.
Sure.
And he in every single offensive system, he talks about like using pads as you're building up to going to full contact, breaking down like different pieces of your attack and using pads as part of the process. So, educational videos on how to use your equipment. That's a really cool thing you have going.
Well, I think what it does is if you put equipment into people's hands who really know how to use that equipment and know how, a lot of times we buy things or we invest in products because we think we know how to use them. We think we know what would be the best use for them. But I'll tell you, when you actually watch some of the top coaches use equipment in an entirely different way than you might have thought that the equipment could be used, and how that improves the player's skills, it's really amazing. It really opens your eyes to new techniques, and hopefully that's one of the ways we can give back to these emerging programs that don't have access to top level coaching. I grew up in the days when I played lacrosse. Lacrosse was an emerging sport. I remember the first time I went to play. I watched a video, actually a film of a lacrosse game being played, and then that night we went out and played our first high school game. So a lot of times, as sports are emerging, you don't have top level coaching right out there in grassroots environment. And what our goal is to just give them some tools that they can use to everything from improving players' strength, improving players' speed, improving players' technique, in how to use that equipment to do that. So that's really what our goal is. We want to become a resource for coaches. There's all kinds of other issues out there that coaches have to deal with, things like concussions and how to deal with players as they come in and out of those. We want to be able to give them some resources that they can use to help them think through the problems they face with their teams and their players. So hopefully Ram Rugby, as it evolves in the United States, it'll be a resource to coaches. It's part of why we're getting involved in MLR. We hope to, over time, use some of the coaches in MLR to help us with specific pieces of film that could help local coaches build the skills of their players.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things I'm trying to work on is for myself is coach education and coach training, and then learn how to train coaches, and also continuing ed. And one of the things is coach education in this country, it's cultural. Some guys want to learn more, and sometimes some guys don't. Whereas my background, I used to be a football player, right? And coach education, being on the cutting edge, is that's a normal thing in football. You have, the AFCA just wrapped up their conference a couple of weeks ago, and it's a trade show, but it's also it's 5 days of education trying to learn all the newest things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things you mentioned earlier, my background, at one time I ran one of the largest computer training companies in the world. And the experience that we gained there was we had to train about 10,000 instructors how to teach. And from that, we learned a lot of techniques about how people learn, how adults learn. And in some of the videos that we've done for soccer and that we're starting to do today, one of the things that's important to us is that we structure these in ways that the coaches are really easily able to walk away from these programs and understand and put into practice the skills that they've learned. So hopefully, as the company evolves over the next few years, we'll be able to continue to roll out programs that help folks improve their skills.
That's awesome. I think that about wraps it up for what I had today. I look forward to seeing Ram products in what is it? When do you roll out your first match balls?
They'll actually be, so the teams already have an allocation of match balls that are not branded, just so that they can get used to the balls and practice with them. The next phase is photographs. They're actually being printed now. We'll have some photographs of the balls for teams so that they can get them up on their websites. And then the balls are actually coming in 3 allocations. There's one, I think, that lands in a couple of weeks, one in, I think, 6 weeks, and then the last one just before the season starts. So you should actually see branded products with Major League Rugby within the next, I would say safely within the next 3 weeks, you'll see them in the US.
And then as far as like individual purchase, which allocation will probably cover that? Because I am surprised having been at the USA versus Argentina 15 game, how many balls get used in a match?
Yeah. Yeah, we have an allocation of balls going to Major League Rugby specifically for matches, and then we have other balls going to teams for some for sale, but also some for community use. So we supply them to the team, and then the teams decide how they want to use them. But you should see them out in the marketplace within 3 weeks. You should start to see them, the branded balls coming in.
Awesome. Yep. That sounds great.
Good. Aaron, it was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And for anyone that's looking for equipment, that is ramrugbyusa.com, correct?
That's it.
All right. So I'm Aaron Castro, Earful of Dirt. Thank you, Ken. And you can see us back at 10 p.m. Eastern on Monday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time. It's episode 23. See you later.